Hey everyone, welcome back to the Empowering Minds Mental Health Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jennifer Moore, and as always, I appreciate all of your support, and I also appreciate you spending time with me when you go back and watch the replays. So, the 4th of July, there's a lot of excitement around that holiday for some. Some people are planning cookouts, family reunions, beach trips, fireworks, and all kind of celebrations. And so social media is full of pictures of grills, red, white, and blue decorations, and people just enjoying the holiday. And one thing that I thought was really beautiful was that I saw a lot of family photos. And so that told me that a lot of families got a chance to get together to spend some time with their loved ones. And I just thought that was very, very beautiful. So today, I want to talk about another side of the 4th of July that doesn't always get talked about. And so I want to talk about people who aren't looking forward to fireworks. The people who are already wondering, how am I going to get through tonight? I want to ask you all something. Have you ever been outside watching fireworks and noticed somebody quietly walk away? Maybe they went back inside the house. Maybe they got in their car. Maybe they covered their ears. Or maybe they just had an uncomfortable look on their face. And a lot of times we don't even think anything about it. We just might assume they don't like fireworks, you know. I've heard some people even joke and say, come on, it's just fireworks. But what if it's not just fireworks to them? What if those loud booms mean something completely different? And that's what I want us to think about today. I've had people in my life who served in the military, and I've watched what loud explosions can do to them. One particular person became very visibly shaken after hearing loud explosions of fireworks at a football game we were attending. And the other man, he became extremely anxious because those sounds of the fireworks reminded him of an experience that he had went through while serving overseas. So prior to, I knew that both of these guys were diagnosed with PTSD, and I had seen a few things here and there, but this particular incident, it changed me. It made me realize that sometimes we're standing in the same place, hearing the exact same sound, but we're having completely different experiences. To me, it was just noise of firecrackers. To them, it was a reminder of something painful. And that's something I don't think enough people understand. Now, when most people hear the letters PTSD, the first thing that usually comes to mind is a military veteran. And while many veterans absolutely live with PTSD, that's not the whole story. PTSD is bigger than that. PTSD stands for post traumatic stress disorder. But I don't want to spend a lot of time giving you textbook definitions today. I'd rather explain it this way. Sometimes life hurts us in ways that leaves a mark long after the event is over. Sometimes our minds heal, sometimes our bodies heal, and sometimes our hearts heal. But sometimes parts of us stay on alert because we live through something our brain never wants us to experience again. So think about this. If you've ever touched a hot stove, you don't have to convince yourself not to touch it again because your brain remembers. And so trauma can work in a similar way. The brain learns to recognize danger. The problem is, after severe trauma, sometimes the brain begins recognizing danger even when we're actually safe. And that's why compassion and empathy matters. So I want to keep talking because this is where I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding about PTSD. And so, like I mentioned earlier, when most people hear PTSD, they automatically picture someone in the military. Trauma doesn't ask somebody what job they have before it changes their life. It can affect survivors of domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, serious car accidents, natural disasters, healthcare workers, first responders, and countless others. Trauma doesn't always operate on a calendar. Healing isn't measured by the calendar. Healing is measured one step, one day at a time. There is such thing as resilience because people can recover, people can heal, people can find joy again. And sometimes healing often begins when someone feels safe, supported, heard, and believed. Now, one thing I've learned is that behavior usually has a story behind it. Now, while it doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it can help remind you to lead with compassion. So, if you have someone in your family who struggles this time of year, don't pressure them to watch fireworks. You can ask, what would you like help with tonight? Or what would help you tonight? Sometimes support simply means making room for another person's experience. And honestly, I think we could all use a little more compassion these days. So, if you're listening today and you're living with PTSD, I want you to know that I see you. Give yourself permission to take care of yourself this holiday. If staying home helps, stay home. If headphones help, wear your headphones. If leaving early helps, leave early. Taking care of your mental health is not selfish. And to families, ask questions instead of making assumptions. Believe people when they tell you they are struggling. Healing is possible. It may not be quick or easy, but progress is still progress. So if you've been putting off reaching out for help, let today be the day that you decide you don't have to carry everything alone. The 4th of July looks different for different people. Before judging someone, you need to take a pause because you never know what battle they're fighting. Fireworks fade after a few moments, but the impact of trauma can last for years. And that's why compassion matters. So Psalms 46:1 says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Thank you for listening to the Empowering Minds Mental Health Podcast. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I hope that you have a safe 4th of July.